Assistant Professor of Middle East Studies at Ankara University. Betul, good to have you on this news hour. When we look at this move from Egypt, they have had close relationships, normalized relations with Israel since 1979. How does this now affect that political relationship between these neighbors?
Thank you for having me on this really specific issue on the Palestinian conflict. The key international relations angle in this case, or in the tension between Israel and Egypt, Egypt has been the first and very central angle of Israeli politics in the Middle East and in the globe, in sort of normalizing its relations with the regional actors and kind of legitimizing its existence in the region. Once Egypt is following the overall narrative in the globe or in the region, delegitimizing once again the Israeli existence or their foreign policy making with joining the case in the International Court of Justice, I think this might bring more tension in the regional politics, not only with the Israel and Egypt, but also among the other Arab countries who are quite organized in their normalization process. So for Egypt, there is a societal angle where we see more popular support of Palestinian cause in the society, but in terms of regime, we see more professional relationship with the Israeli authorities to sort of secure their borders, also to sort of secure their, pragmatic outcomes out of this conflict. But then, with other regional actors normalizing with Israel, which is Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, and Morocco in this recent accords, the Egypt was the base. Once you have this central actor normalizing with Israel, the others were kind of following the move. But then, in the current shape of conflict, because of the rising humanitarian disaster in Rafah, Israel needs more regional and global actors indicating its so-called legitimate war in Gaza. So if we have more actors joining that case, then this will be diminishing Israelis' narrative in the global politics. But then will it be really practical in supporting Palestine? I believe this needs to be attached to rapid humanitarian support to Rafah, along with the case supported by International Court of Justice.
And of course, that would all help with a ceasefire coming about. Egypt has been a key player in negotiations between all parties involved here. Do you think Egypt now joining South Africa's case could affect the negotiations? Last week, it seemed we were so close to finally seeing some sort of truce. Those hopes now have been dashed.
I think this is the key message Egypt is kind of signaling to Israel. So in the region, we have Egypt, Turkey, and Qatar, who are able to talk with the both sides of the conflict, if you call it not equal sides, but at least we have both parties. So Turkey has joined the case, and Qatar is always using its power as much as they do in the global politics to bring more Palestinian presence and their rights to the scene. But then when we have Egypt joining the case, this has two outcomes for this. First of all, are we gonna able to see more negotiating power on the hands of Egypt because of their position in International Court of Justice? I am not sure about it, but what I sure is, in the case of current situation in the conflict, once we have more vocal Egypt in terms of their support for the case of genocide, this might bring less power or not less negotiation from the side of Israelis. But then the second outcome, which is the other potential solution or outcome in the case. So Israel has, of course, a domestic pressure. There's also a global pressure, but we don't see a global pressure working on this case. But once you have Egypt losing its role in the negotiation, which is actually a long-standing ally, if you call it, in this conflict for the Israeli party, then how you're going to justify to your domestic politics that you're actually talking to someone to protect the hostages? So this is why I believe now Israel has to rethink its position in this conflict. Are they ready to lose Egypt as well? Or are they going to bring more power to the desk to make Egypt position useful for themselves again in this case.
It will be interesting to see how this plays out and the ramifications. Betül Doğan Akash in Ankara, thank you so much.
Thank you.